Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Yona of the Dawn, chapter 209. When we last left our heroes, Mei-Nyan was trying to get out of her confinement to go find Ho, but lucky for her, Yona and the gang came by with Ho, and so she was happy to see Ho. She met Ao, it was all real cute. Yona and Judo and the dragons as well, started talking about the coming war. Yona was a little bit concerned about them starting the war before Hawk got back from Awa. Judo told her there was nothing to worry about. And Mei-Nyan was like, yeah, y'all are kind of underestimating Kai here. We can whoop y'all's ass. So now everyone's a little bit nervous, at least more nervous than they were. But then a guard for Suwon comes by, asking Zeno to go meet with Suwon, where Suwon asks Zeno if he has any interest in the throne, thinking that as an immortal, it's good to have someone with that kind of stability on the throne, I guess. Though Suwon does make the assumption that Zeno would, have his ideals, which is a stretch. We find out, among other things, that that Suwon never considered Yona as a potential successor. But also, Suwon then asks Zeno about, has anyone ever survived the illness? And Zeno tells him, no, not even with the Senjutsu. And so Suwon had the sort of thoughts of, I have to make this country big enough and strong enough to survive when I'm gone. And then, yeah, that's kind of where we left off, with Suwon passing out, and then Zeno mentioning something about, he'll die one day, and then even if it means going against the gods, his wish will be granted, which, no idea what that could mean at all, but there was a lot going on last chapter. So with that, let's dive right on into chapter 209, Secret Order. And we open in South Kai, back in Jijing, at the Phoenix Palace, which I'm guessing is Chagol's palace. And it's Vall, who sort of entered Chagol's throne room. How you summon me, your highness Chagol? And Chagol tells him, General Vall, you son of a bitch are an old friend of Mei-Nyan's, right? So we see that Chagol is not exactly on friendly terms with Vall, I guess. Anyway, Vall goes on, yes, sire, please forgive me my discourtesy, but when Lady Mei-Nyan was in her capacity as a general, and Chagol just cuts to the chase, were you intimate? And Vall protests, no, that was absolutely not the case. And Chagol kind of brushes that aside, whatever. That hussy is still dawdling in Kouka Kingdom, without coming back to my side. Who has said the word hussy in 50 years? I mean, I guess this is sort of a more ancient society, but I don't even think hussy would work if you're trying to make it sound old-fashioned. It just sounds kind of 1930s, not 1300s. Interesting word choice, that. So, you bastard, go fetch her, will you? So, again, every single time Chagol addresses Vall, there's this layer of insult to it. It's an interesting dynamic. And Vall looks up at him. Go fetch her from the Crimson Dragon Castle, sire. Sorry, I accidentally read the next bubble. But Chagol clarifies, not as an envoy. And he takes this pear, I think, and crushes it in his hand. You'll capture her and bring her back. Shocking Vall. Capture her? Sire, do you mean she's in such a predicament to the Crimson Dragon Castle right now? Dunno. She might have become a concubine of the king over there, or she might be already dead. So it seems to me that Chagol can only really see Mei-Nyan as a sex object, as his concubine, and so the best she could do for herself is to become a concubine of another country. Or the biggest thing he could imagine keeping her away is that. Not, trying to ally with Suwon on military or strategic terms. He's kind of ignoring her history as a general. Again, more things that might end up pushing her away from Kai. I don't know. Or she might already be dead. Whatever's happened to her, I'll have to go meet my runaway wench. But Vall kind of protests, however, sire, war is about to break out in earnest. As a general, I'll have to command tens of thousands of troops. But Chagol tells him not a problem. Another commander will cover for you. Don't misunderstand. Even among the 8 great commanders of South Kai, you son of a bitch are among the top 2 in martial prowess. That's precisely why I'm leaving that hussy's matter to you. There's also just something weird about the you son of a bitch. It's just not really how anyone talks. Like, not that, like if you're saying, you know, I'm trying to find the right way to phrase it. Like, if you're addressing someone, you know, yada yada yada, you might put son of a bitch there. But if I'm saying you are among the top 2 in martial prowess, throwing son of a bitch in there just feels really awkward and unnatural to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, that's precisely why I'm leaving that hussy's matter to you. There's fucking who says hussy that often? Anyway, the candle flickers, and I'm giving you the dromoy, fucker. Use them well. And fucker just feels really crass for a man of Chagol standings. But either way, we see what I'm guessing are the dromoy, these 4 kind of shadowy figures, like almost maybe assassin types, in where was, sorry, I was trying to thought there. My lack of medication has really been screwing me over all day today. These 4 assassin type guys all robed up. We have a note that looks more like a translator note than Evil Twin's normal just bias shit. Big note needed here. Doromosu isn't a word in Japanese, and it's written with katakana to indicate that. Kusanagi screwed up a little in her research. Dromos, plural dromoi, is an ancient term denoting a passageway leading to a building in Egyptian or Greek architectural complexes. Some dromoi, not all, lead into tombs or mausoleums, so she probably assumed the word meant passage to the grave, which is a cool name for a unit of assassins. And because plurals aren't common in Japanese, she used the singular word, even though there are several of them. Why she used the Greek word for a series as an East Asian setting is beyond me. So even with that, there's still sort of Evil Twin having to, like, throw a barb in at Kusanagi every chance they get. Which, okay. But anyway, use them well. And Vall takes them in, the Dromoi, the unit of assassins directly under His Highness Chagol's command. To use these guys, it must mean... And Vall protests, wait, please, sire. What are you telling me to... Regarding your infiltration, after the war starts and there are fewer troops protecting the Crimson Dragon Castle because of that, after you make your way to the Crimson Dragon Castle, carve the emblem of our Kai Empire onto Kuto, and then come back. So, is that like a literal, like, my image is like, burn the emblem of Kai onto the cityscape, like in a fire or something, is the image in my head, kind of literal. But also killing Mei-Nyan seems to be a big goal there too. And Vall kind of takes that in, realizing the depths of this mission. But then we cut to Vall's left Chagol's throne room and is sitting on like a banister. How tiresome. I much prefer the front lines. And a woman approaches him. General Vall, I heard there was... It's 2 women who are kind of, you know, attracted to Vall is the vibe I get. I heard there will soon be a big war against Kouka Kingdom. Please let me offer my prayers for your good fortune in the war. Here is an amulet. She like gives him this little amulet. Thank you. And she kind of like walks off, heart aflutter. Vall looks out after her. And he flashes back to Mei-Nyan. Oh ho ho, haven't you become popular? How about you take all of them as your brides? And we flash back to 2 years before. General Vall, and we see Vall kind of exhausted, like wiping sweat off his brow, and all these young girls are coming up to him. You must be tired from the military drills, General Vall. Please accept the refreshments I've made. Mine too. And then we see the exact same line that Vall just flashed back to. Oh ho ho, haven't you become popular? How about you take all of them as your brides? Yep, there's Mei-Nyan. And then the girls also got to squee over Mei-Nyan. Kya! General Mei-Nyan! General Mei-Nyan, how can you fight on such equal level with the gentleman with such slender arms like yours? And they all kind of like gush over Mei-Nyan. Mei-Nyan sort of laughs. And Vall sort of, while eating the women's food, she uses dirty tactics, applying poison to her weapons and the like. And Mei-Nyan just snaps at him, you shut up. Also, you're stinky today. And Mei-Nyan sort of rushes at him, huh? And then the girls sort of comment, those two get along so well, don't they? They really do. I'm jealous. So I like seeing sort of Mei-Nyan get along with people. We're sort of seeing what I've thought Kusanagi's been implying for a while now, that Mei-Nyan is sort of, she was a well-respected general and maybe even popular among the people, but the nobility, like Chagol, never really gave a damn about her. We see, like, the princess hates her. I'm curious, like, Chagol seems to hold her in contempt, too. I'm curious why he ever allowed her to be a concubine. Maybe she's just really good in bed or something. I don't know. Anyway, the women comment, those two get along so well, don't they? They really do. I'm jealous. And then a little bit later, Mei-Nyan sort of tells Vall, I put on perfume today. It's not stinky. And Vall presses, by the way, what's with the thick makeup? And why? And then, so I'm not quite sure where, by the way, what's with the thick makeup is supposed to be in that. Because everything else, including the next panel, follows on with a perfume conversation. And then there's also, by the way, what's with the thick makeup? Unless Mei-Nyan's answers to both of those questions. Because her answer is, because today I'll have His Highness Chagol as my audience. So maybe we'll get to see her first kind of seduce Chagol and sort of her attempt to meet up with Suwon. But no, hold on. Because she said that she only ever tried to become Chagol's concubine to meet with Suwon. But this was 2 years ago, right? And so, how long has it been since the start of the series? I don't think it's been my best guess was like a little less than a year, unless I'm way off base. I might be off base. But like I was thinking like 9-10 months since the start of the series. But 2 years ago, assuming that even at this point it's still part of her plan to get with Suwon and stake their claim in the world, doesn't quite add up. I don't know. Vall sort of reacts, and Mei-Nyan goes on, it seems His Highness has taken an interest in the beautiful woman general. If all goes well, I might end up as a concubine. And Vall just snorts. Mei-Nyan snaps, don't snort at me. Want me to break that nose of yours? And then Vall kind of walks off, and Mei-Nyan calls after him, are you okay with this? You might become unable to talk freely to me, you know. Will you be fine not confessing your love while you still can? Come on, quit back. And Vall just sort of doesn't rise to the bait. No, I'll be fine. And that's how things turned out afterwards. Was she attracted to His Majesty, or did she wish for status? Well, if she's happy, that's good. That's what I thought. However, and we see this other flashback of Mei-Nyan sort of bloodied, her unable to open one eye from her wounds. And Mei-Nyan tells him, I'll leave my little hoe under your care for a bit. It'll be safe with you. And Vall accepts it. Okay, but wait for me, my little hoe. I'll be back for you. And Vall calls out to her, hey! And she runs off. She just told me not to ask her anything and left. And Vall looks at her, what's with those injuries? I mean, she'd been beaten before during her time as a general, but she's not doing military shit anymore. That's Chagol being abusive. Even if something happened when she was in the imperial court, at that point I was none the wiser. Now to bring her back. If she returns, what will become of her? So given the close friendship of Vall and Mei-Nyan, and given that Vall seems to be under the probably accurate assumption that if he brings Mei-Nyan back, Mei-Nyan will die, be killed by Chagol. Maybe Mei-Nyan and Vall will both betray Kai. You know, Vall out of his loyalty and friendship with Mei-Nyan, and Mei-Nyan over, you know, I mean, I don't know why she'd go back. If she only wanted to join up with Chagol for Suwon, it's not like she'll go back to Chagol out of, like, the goodness of her heart, especially if Vall is like, hey, Chagol's probably going to kill you when you get back. I don't know, and especially seeing, you know, the debt that Mei-Nyan feels towards Yoon and Yona, I can definitely see. I'd be shocked if Mei-Nyan did not end up a turncoat by series end. That's my bet. But anyway, we then come to the Kin province of the Earth Tribe. Quick little reminder bit. chapters 95 and 99, you know, the one that had been ceded to Kai in a peace treaty and Suwon invaded because of his father complex. Think of country annexing, say, Arauca from Colombia on the pretext of cartels selling them the drugs, and you get an idea of the nonsense. It's still the same. They're normal anti-Suwon bias, but anyway. Lord Geun-Tae. And we say Geun-Tae for the first time in a long while. I missed him. He's so good. And Geun-Tae looks, oh, how are things? Please look at this much iron ore. There's been a dramatic drop in instances of guys from South Kai stealing from us. Thanks to Lord Geun-Tae's deployment of soldiers to guard this area, we've been able to safely devote ourselves to mining. Yeah. So we have... So I was reading that note and sort of ignoring it because it's... the general sort of... Evil Twin really hates this series, and why were they still scaling it this long? Because they clearly didn't like it. Anyway, excellent. You need to endure this just a little longer. So we see Geun-Tae sort of keeping the miners safe with his sort of army. His Majesty Suwon will send the combined armies of Kouka Kingdom marching on South Kai before long. And the citizens react, the combined armies? Awesome! Until then, Earth Tribe troops will protect this place. Don't refrain from letting us know if anything happens. Yeah, yes, sir. And the citizens sort of all react. Lord Geun-Tae, we owe him so much. His child has just been born. He probably wants to go back to Chishin Castle as quick as possible. And despite that, he's guarding the national border in person, for our sake. The village has become livelier thanks to the presence of such an esteemed person. Okay. So we see, Geun-Tae sort of making himself sort of a friendly presence in the village. But then someone notices something, calling out, Lord Geun-Tae, it's South Kai! And Geun-Tae sort of freezes mid-bite. This elder guy responds, those guys are here to cause trouble again. And Geun-Tae asks their number, 100. All right, it's a skirmish. And we see Geun-Tae readies his sword, ready to go to battle. And the troops, march on to meet South Kai. Lord Geun-Tae's leading the vanguard. And Geun-Tae calls warriors of the Earth Tribe, charge! And both sides, meet, their horses racing at each other. And Geun-Tae just starts slashing. Brings down troops one after the other. You see him covered in blood. The citizens react, a true god of war. To think that I can see Lord Geun-Tae fight from this close. And the Kai soldiers react, so strong, with so few soldiers. And Geun-Tae calls, rout them! Yeah! And we see the battle, and the little boy who we saw earlier, who I think he's a Wind Tribe guy, isn't he? Wasn't he one of Hawk's, the kids that followed Hawk around, I think? It might be way off base there. But anyway, Geun-Tae is very, very clearly won. Lord Geun-Tae! Amazing! Calgon is his name. Let me do a quick search to see if I can remember him. He's from the village. He was first introduced by stealing a rice ball from Yona's hands back in chapter 95, it says. Okay, but he's from the village. That's the important part. Again, it's been a long time since I've dived into this part of the story, so forgive me for being a little bit, I don't remember what's going on here. Hey, Calgon. And Calgon runs up to Geun-Tae. Lord Geun-Tae! Awesome! You took down the enemies almost on your own. You look like Hawk! And Geun-Tae, I'm not sure if Geun-Tae would know that the Yona gang was ever here. So he wouldn't really understand why this kid knows Hawk. Hawk? Yes! Hawk also went with his glaive and went whack, 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 took the enemies down like lightning. And Geun-Tae thinks, I can only think of one person who matches this description, but, there's not that many people named Hawk, Geun-Tae. And Calgon just reaches up for him, hey, let me touch your sword. And some of the citizens call Calgon, but Geun-Tae tells him, now just wait and later and then he feels something, and he grabs Calgon, get down, kid, and he guards him as 3 arrows hit Geun-Tae in the back. We see the blood start to flow. Calgon reacts, and Geun-Tae falls. I doubt dead, given the fact that it's Geun-Tae, and they wouldn't. I don't think Kusanagi would kill a main character like that. Lord Geun-Tae! And we see he's still alive, but in a good deal of pain. The citizens call Lord Geun-Tae, the elder. What on earth? And Geun-Tae looks up and he sees a single archer still, or maybe a squad of archers still shooting. And he calls, be careful, there are still troops in ambush. And arrows start to fly, hitting the Earth Tribe troops. Wah! And Geun-Tae tells them, don't lose your mettle. Get ready for combat. One of his, I guess like his second in command calls, but I'll be fine. Go. And Caligan is sort of frozen. Lord Geun-Tae. Lord Geun-Tae. And Geun-Tae goes to get up, but more arrows fall right at him. Lord Geun-Tae! And Hawk arrives. Just in the nick of time. I don't know why, it's one hell of a coincidence, I will say. But he does save Geun-Tae. And just sort of stand there. And Hawk is now there protecting Geun-Tae. Okay. So, this was a fun chapter. I'm deliberately ignoring everything that Evil Twin has to say, because honestly, I am very, very happy that this is the last Evil Twin chapter. I don't want to read another fucking, this is why I hate this manga, I'm scanlating again. But anyway, as one of those chapters, it's very easily divided into two parts. I think the far more interesting part is with Vall, obviously. Sort of getting to know him, getting to understand his relationship with Mei-Nyan. They have this sort of very cordial but kind of bantering relationship. It's a lot of fun. And so I can understand why Vall feels so this kind of protectiveness towards Mei-Nyan. And so, yeah, what Vall will do when he gets to Kouka is very much up in the air. I don't quite know how he's going to react. Like, will he pick his friendship with Mei-Nyan over the orders of Chagol, or will he decide that he's, you know, a Kai soldier first thing? Where was I? Kai soldier first thing, and then a friend of Mei-Nyan second. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see when Vall makes it to Kouka, but I'm very excited to see that plotline play out. The back half of the chapter is just sort of seeing Geun-Tae again. Geun-Tae's a lot of fun. He's just a really, really fun character, and I'm happy to see him again. I've missed him. And then you have this quick little skirmish, and Geun-Tae seems to win, but then he's kind of caught by surprise by some archers. And then all of a sudden, Hawk is there, and it's a little, okay, Hawk just happened to be there at the exact right moment. He was not headed to Keen at all. He was headed to Awa. But whatever, I'll allow it. It's a cool bit of Hawk saving Geun-Tae. And then, yeah, that's sort of where we leave off. There's not a whole lot to really dig into in the Geun-Tae section. Especially nowhere near as much as with Vall. But now Hawk is here. And this skirmish might end up blowing into the first major conflict of the war, possibly. We'll have to sort of wait and see. But for now, it's a great little ending bit. You know, Hawk just standing there all badass over Geun-Tae. And then, of course, Vall continues to be really interesting, and I really want to see his arc play out. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. There's a lot of interesting things here, a lot of things I can't wait to see sort of expanded on. And with that, we're finally out of Evil Twin, and we get to hopefully a less openly biased Scanlator. So yeah, all good things there. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. You know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!